Yeah.
I'm really sorry. One second. I will get Jack to edit this. I'm going to have. Can you hear my cat?
No.
No.
Okay, because I can't. He's yelling. One second.
Oh, I love pet shots. Let's
Is
get all the
this
pets
is
in.
this
Oh,
toothless?
This is toothless.
beautiful.
Oh,
Isn't he
toothless.
beautiful?
Oh, you're beautiful.
Welcome to the Noise Podcast, brought to you as part of the Noise Podcast Network and in association with Liquid Death. Thanks for murdering our first. I'm Will, and what you're about to hear is episode 6 of Favourite Noizzes for 2024. And in this episode, I'm joined by Hamartia, really cool alt rocky emo band. Strongly recommend you check them out. They've been a little quiet lately over the past, over recent times for various reasons, but we have a lovely chat. They're going to be a lot less quiet next year. Strongly recommend you do check those guys out. They are wonderful. And I also speak to, and this is really cool, I speak to unpeople. Speak to Ritchie and Luke from Unpeople, who just released their debut EP, self-titled, on Sharp Tone Records earlier this year. They are also, this is the cool part, a great band, but no, they are also our headliners for Noise Fest 2025. How cool is that? So yeah, we talk a little bit about their favorite records. We also go a little off piste. They've spent a lot of time, as they mentioned, they've spent a lot of time writing this year. Haven't always discovered loads and gigging. They haven't necessarily discovered loads of like brand new releases. So we chat about stuff that's been new to them this year, even if it wasn't released this year. That was a really fun segment to do actually. So yeah, hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, please do drop us a like and a follow wherever that may be on Twitter at Noise Podcast and Instagram Noise Podcast Network. You can find our main site Noise on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky at Noise UK. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Do be sure to give listen wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Or if you fancy checking out our Spotify Essentials playlist, or want to buy some merch, got some links down in the bio for you. And if that's not enough, and you want to be the biggest legend on the planet, could you drop us a review on your platform of choice? It means more than you know. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode. Well, I'm joined by James and Sophie from Hamartia. First of all, how are you guys doing?
All good, Will. How are you?
Fucking freezing.
It. You know what? We never really get much snow like in the southwest at all, and it sticks. But it was so snowy at James's today. It was like ridiculous.
It's the one of the things about living in Cornwall is that you basically never ever get good snow. And to be fair, we didn't get good snow today, but it was just like everyone forgot how to drive basically.
Smart.
It
Oh
just
yeah.
gets a bit cold and everyone's like, I'm gonna go and buy 15 kilograms of rice from the shops, and I'm gonna cry on Facebook, and I'm gonna forget how to drive my car.
I remember the
Relatable.
days when I grew up in Cheshire and the slightest bit of snow and it was carnage. Like the M6 is bad enough, but
It's like all the schools have shut down for a few days, and it's like this pathetic amount of snow. I don't get it. I don't get it. I
Worst
think
thing is they'll wake up tomorrow and it'll all be gone. And everyone will go, what the hell happened? Like, why did we make such a big deal of this?
I
peer
uh,
pressure.
I, I knew a guy that he lived in Buxton, so like up in the hills, and still came into school on a day that they had to smash through the ice in the top of their hot water butt for a shower. Like,
That's
still turned up
dedication.
and was like, "Yeah, it's cold, but
But I'm gonna do it.
yeah."
The
Yeah.
dedication is admirable. I have to say.
Fair play.
But enough about the weather and being way too English about this. Like, so one of the reason that we're doing this podcast, as I mentioned to you before, is we talk a little bit, first of all, about how your year's been. So 2024's been quieter for Hamartia, I think, if
Hmm.
that's not, it's not wrong, but you've done a few shows, you put a new song out. How's it been
Yes.
for you? How's it felt to kind of be getting back into the groove of things?
Yeah, it's been really good. I feel like we have been kind of putting off writing, well, not writing, but releasing new music 'cause we've been scared. But it's been nice to have it out there now, and we've got some more coming next year and hopefully an EP. I'm saying it now because if I say it now, I'm holding myself accountable, guys. So it's out there in the world. So yeah, it's been really great to have the response from that and make so many new friends and have some people that are starting to really like us now as well. Like I met someone at a gig we did in Exeter who's been to quite a few of our shows over the last year. And it's just really nice to see familiar faces now, I think. I don't know about you, James. It's probably...
Yeah, I think it's like, I think last year we were like, because we hadn't really done shows in such a long time, hadn't done that many, we were like, let's just do whatever we can. Like we really just want to play. And then this year we focused a bit more on like, we wanted to focus a bit more on the writing. Like we recorded these tracks, we recorded them a long time ago, and through various reasons, like they just took a while to get finished. So we were sort of like, balancing like some, getting busier with work and stuff. Like a few of us are like doing more self-employed stuff, and that takes quite a lot of time. And then we were like, okay, well, we want to make sure the shows that we're doing are really good. We want to make sure we're putting on a good show. And we want to make sure that we're sort of like moving forward to the writing, because we'd gone so long without having like loads of new material to work with.
Yeah.
So it has been a year of like trying to balance everything out, really. But feels like we're in a stronger position now where we can be like we've like, it's a little spoiler, we just had like a 2-day writing session, and we got everyone down in Cornwall with our friend Manny from Keeper, and wrote some new tasty stuff. So that's like, there's always stuff going on, you know, which is nice. Feels like we're more productive this year, even though it has been a little bit quieter sort of on the gig front.
Yeah, and I think actually it's in the busy year last year, I think you kind of figure out what you want and who you want to be. It sounds really cringe, and it
does sound really cringe.
But it is that whole thing of you start figuring out, okay, well, we think we sounded really cool on this lineup. We like these people. What direction do we want to go in? Who do we want to be? Because a lot of the songs that we're playing now, we wrote a long time ago, and life is very different now. You know, I'm a fully grown adult, which is mad concept, but here we are. And new stuff is going to be different, well, obviously, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like the difference between we've got 2 singles coming out next year at the start, and then hopefully an EP at some point, hopefully next year. And yeah, it's very different in the sense of, I feel like we may as well just go deep. Let's just go for it. I've been having therapy for like 2 years now, and I feel like I've learned so much about myself and like who I want to be and how I want to go forward in life. And I feel like that's really obvious in the songwriting, because I think it's still really honest and raw, like I like doing it. But I think, yeah, I guess it's finding out who you are, and it's come across like in music as well, I suppose.
Yeah. I feel like what is particularly like the lyrics that you're writing now, they seem like they're more mature, but there's also like they're a little bit more, I don't know, it feels a bit more secure in like what the sound is and who the band is and what and how we want to come across. Like before,
you just wrote something because it sounded cool, and then you did this thing because it sounded cool. Whereas I think now things are more intentional. Whereas before, you're like, oh, this is a sick riff. Wouldn't it be cool if we made this into a song?
and then, spoiler alert, it was never cool. It was. It's like, oh, this riff's fucking hard. Like, sorry, am I allowed to say swear words?
Considering I opened it by saying it was fucking freezing, I think you're all right.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this riff's fucking sick. This is going to be so cool. And then there's a few that we've like played live a few times, and we've just gone, what?
What were we thinking? That doesn't do anything.
What?
Yeah.
And it's even worse when you like, we've started recording every set that we do. Like we'll stick a camera up, we've got a GoPro. It's great. Like it's really good for bits of content.
It's really good for ruining your self-esteem, Will. Is what
it's so good for ruining your self-esteem.
When you have a bad gig and it's recorded and you have access to that at any point, you could sit there and watch it for hours if you wanted to.
Hey,
It's
you
that
think
good.
you're having a
Never
bad
done
day? Want to make it worse? Yeah.
We'll just watch a Hamartia set.
It's good for like obviously content because everything revolves around content. But and it is good for if I don't know. I feel like looking at how you're acting on stage and how you're being perceived, and I always joke around it quite a bit just because I'm very silly. So it's good to see how that actually lands, I suppose.
You can sort of test how your stand-up routine goes.
Yeah.
You can work on some new material for that.
And it's good for when you have really bad gigs for like whatever reason, whether it's someone's not very well or the sound's bad, to see how you actually go through it. Because I've realised I think that I look really awkward and I don't feel very well if I'm not feeling it. And I actually just look like I'm enjoying myself. So I'm doing a great job at masking those bad gigs is all I gotta say.
You look pretty you look pretty like normal most of the time.
Thanks.
Like you're not and that's not even with the gigs.
Cheers,
that's not
man.
even when we play. No, I feel like you're quite good at just being like, yeah, everything's fine. This is all good. But it can be
myself
quite
so bad,
yeah,
but it's for the greater cause, guys.
Absolutely. It's just
What I learned in therapy.
What I learned in therapy and that gaslighting myself is fine.
Yeah, just other
just
people,
pretend
guys.
everything is okay and it will all be okay. Just don't think about it. That's the key.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
It's great advice.
That'll be £200, please.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. But so it's been like very different in terms of gigs and stuff this year. But I think we're also, because we play in Bristol so much, but we're all spread around, which is always a weird one. Because how do you where do you say you're from if you've got a member in Bristol, a member in Devon, and 2 members in Cornwall? Like, it's just the southwest. We just take up the southwest. But
the entire southwest.
Because we all basically met at uni, so in Bristol, and at some point we'd love to move closer. But I think we've played Bristol so much now. It really next year is looking at going elsewhere. Done just to tour the UK.
Do a whole tour, and it's like 3 gigs.
3 gigs,
and you never go further than Worcester.
That's it. That's a tour.
Absolutely.
If you're if you're north of the Watford Gap, it counts.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of like our next load of plans, I'd say, with a single release at the same time. If everything goes right, if everything doesn't go right, then maybe different timings. But yeah, I think trying to play further afield would be a real test for us, and I'm excited because I feel like our set is sounding very tasty now. I'm very proud of us. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, there's some stuff happening, which is fun. I think we sort of we spent a long time just being like, oh, we want to do this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, but don't know what to do next or don't know how to progress. And now that's happening a little bit. Without us necessarily trying, we're just sort of continuing to exist, and luckily people have given us some cool opportunities. So
I think it's also it's also being a perfectionist. I think that is a trap we've fallen into, where you can just really easily be like, oh, this song isn't good enough, let's do 5 different versions. And I think something we've definitely learned in the last year is actually allowing different people into the creative process, because at the start you're kind of like, do you want other people involved in songwriting? And it's really been our first time, well, the last 2 days we've actually had other people involved in songwriting. But it's been really good to see how that changes, and it still feels like us. It's maybe just having someone, if there's a part you're unsure about, being like, does that fit?
Yeah, it's actually having a critical ear in the room.
Yeah.
Because when you're writing something, you're never you don't your brain is so focused on creating the thing that you can't critique it at the same time. And then if you spent so long on it, you're not going to be able to critique it afterwards because your ears are tired, your brain's tired, you're not really in the right mindset. So it's really nice just to have somebody else there to say to look at it for the song rather than for what you think the band is going to do with it. There's been a few tracks that we've written over the last couple of days in particular, where we've been don't know how this will work for us, and you constantly trying to sort of like mold a song, mold an instrumental or whatever into like something that will work in your live set or whatever. And it's actually really cool to have somebody there who's just like, let's just look at it as a standalone 4 minutes of music. Like, what works for the song? What, like, how can you make this song the best that it can be? And it's been really helpful. And we've definitely come out of the experience being like, we need to do this way more.
Yeah. So I haven't talked about like new music, and we've kind of already covered what's coming up next year. But one of the big reasons that we do this is it's kind of fun to sit around and look back, because somehow we've made it to nearly late November and look back on the year that's kind of happened in music. And one of my favorite things, because it's list season, is to ask people what their favorite records are. So that's really the crux of what we're doing here. So yeah, if I open the floor to both of you, what's been your favorite release from this year?
Oh,
I feel like you need to go first because mine is not going to be even vaguely alternative.
That's quite all right. We've had some very not alter. Well,
Okay. My favorite release, like hands down, is Lizzie McAlpine's new album, which is obviously like very different style to anything we do, but I absolutely love her. She's amazing. I think the album's called Older and Wiser. That was released at the end of this year, and she is amazing. She's so good live. Her voice is incredible. And yeah, I really love her. She's like one of my favorite vocalists ever. So it's nice. We saw it live.
it was very good.
She just makes you want to cry all the time. She's fucking great at songwriting.
But like cry in a nice way.
Mm,
In a sort of like, oh, this is fucking good.
yeah, this
like
is really like the emotional release.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm familiar. Where would you sort of ballpark her in terms of sound? Is it kind of more?
Ooh.
Are you familiar with the wonder that is Phoebe Bridgers?
Yes, to an extent.
Like a slightly more indie Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah, I feel like it's I
A
always
bit more Americana inspired, I'd say.
I
Oh,
feel
right,
like
okay, yeah.
it's really broad to just be like singer-songwriter, but every time it's just like a gal and her guitar. That's kind of my go-to. But yeah, she did have a few viral hits on TikTok in the last year, and it was the versions where they're really sped up and those ones. It was one
Sorry,
of those.
can you do that again, please? I didn't quite get that.
For your benefit, definitely not.
Thank you.
But but yeah, that did really well on TikTok, and it hosted like it was just so many people who found her through that, which was great. But it did make going to see her live this year really weird, because when that song came on, you just heard like loads of 13-year-old girls just being like ah! Like throughout it. So
It was a bit much. We went.
look,
and saw her
I was a 13-year-old girl. I get it. If it was socially acceptable for me to scream like that now at a Lizzie McAlpine show, I would.
as somebody who has never been a 13-year-old girl. It was bizarre and it was a strange scenario, because when I go to gigs like that, I'm like, I would really like to listen to this person because their voice is very good, and particularly in Lizzie McAlpine's case, her band are like amazing as well. And I was like, I want to just sort of like absorb this. And then
Yeah.
like every other person in the room is like filming a fucking reel or
Yeah.
a TikTok like of them in their like
Such
main
a
character
hater.
era. You know that video of that girl who sat outside the Taylor Swift concert and she's just like ah, ah. That's the sort of energy that we're going with.
Why did we come onto this and just scream in many different ways? I'm so sorry, Will.
I apologize.
Quite all right.
I'm just trying some new things.
Just mute that bit. That makes me look even weirder. But yeah, it was sort of a lot of that really, and a lot of really, really bad attempts at harmonizing with Lizzie McAlpine.
Okay.
Which is
Somewhere.
funny because there's literally like 1,000 other people in the room who are going for a different note.
Hell yeah, I love
Oh, okay.
microtones.
It was pretty interesting.
But
Yeah.
it was
Pretty
still a great
interesting,
gig.
as in heinously out of tune.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. It was
That's
like being in
generous.
a King Gizzard writing session.
My
Microtones for days.
my favorite is still when people can't clap in time when it's really obvious.
Yeah. when the band members are like doing it with their hands and then they're still like,
You can always tell because then the band member stops and the crowd just immediately loses time.
yeah,
It's I don't think I've been to a gig like that for a while. But I am seeing Charlie XCX next
hell
week.
yeah,
And
that
I
would be
can
really good.
imagine.
So good.
Well, I saw her on her last tour at Ali Pali touring Crash before she kind of like obviously she's an arena level still then, but there's a cat causing chaos around her somewhere. But even then, now she's kind of blown up even further. Had this huge Brat Summer campaign.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
like, what the hell's the crowd going to be like? And I'm seeing Sleep Token the week after, which is probably going to be terrifying.
Yeah. It's a lot of like really strong fan bases with those artists as well. So you just know that it's going to be chaos, but like in the best way. But I love seeing how completely unhinged people get at their like favorite bands though, because when I like Paramore, it's so cliche to be like, oh my god, female fronted band that loves Paramore, but I fall into that category unfortunately. And every time I see Paramore, I am like completely unhinged. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I can't judge because it's me.
I do think that musically, I feel like Sleep Token is going to be like an experience.
Yeah.
But I think for like the actual overall vibes, I think the Charlie XCX gig is probably going to be more fun.
I think it's going to be feral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but that's the one where you just stand back and you just go, oh fuck, okay, this is kicking off. Like I think there'd be more injuries at a Charlie XCX show than at any metal show.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll come on to that from talking about TikTok fame and Lizzie McAlpine. But that's been your pick for album of the year.
Yeah, I absolutely love that album. I cannot stop listening to it. I just love it. This was a bit different for her because her last album she didn't really like and it was a lot more commercial. Whereas this one she's kind of gone back to her roots where it feels kind of, I don't know, it's less, I would say like this album is less viral material for socials, whereas her last album, anything could have gone viral within the singer-songwritery world. So it's been nice to see her go back to the roots and it feels a lot darker. Her songwriting's, a lot darker. And I love it. I hate it when people are sad, but sad people make such great music. So
some of the best art comes out at some really horrible times, doesn't it? Which is annoying, but
yeah. But at least we have the tunes.
If they're making absolute bangers, then I'm happy that they're willing to deal with that.
It must be weird though when you get in a good place and you're playing the sad songs. It's kind of like Keaton Henson. Do you know of him?
I don't.
Okay, Keaton Henson's another like wanky singer-songwriter artist.
What a description.
Yeah, he basically always sounds like he's on the verge of tears. And he's write the most depressing shit you've ever heard. Like if it was like love songs but really fucking sad, and then he got married and got a wife and now no one really likes it anymore because he's happy, and it must be so weird for him to be like your entire fan base has boycotted you because of your happiness.
Yeah,
we're really happy that you're happy, but fuck, your music sucks, man. Like,
yeah, it's and he even said that when I saw him live. He was just like, so do you guys like the new album? And everyone's like, yeah,
sure,
yeah. And he's like, do you prefer the sadder stuff? And everyone's like, yeah. So then he was just like on stage with his wife who's doing BVs. Great. But anyway, James, your album of the year is probably going to be more on brand for us.
It is undoubtedly American Motorsports by Bilmuri.
You are the second person to pick that record.
No original thoughts.
It is. No, I haven't had an original thought since 1999.
But it's a great record, though.
It is so good.
Actually, interestingly, the first pick was, do you know Gore, Texas, like metalcore trio? Just kind of started coming on the up from this year.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they picked that. So, okay.
Yeah.
The Bilmuri record is a lot of fun.
It's awesome. I like, to be honest, the new like Cure by Erra. That's a close second for me for this year, I think. And Sophie tells me off for this very frequently. But I have this thing where I have this thing where I forget to sort of listen to any music that was released
Oh.
after like 2014.
Okay, this is a real problem. This is a real problem because you just live in the past.
Yeah,
Just live in the
basically my
past.
favorite bands are Alexis on Fire and like Under Oath and all that sort of stuff.
I'm going to be real with
Um,
you. Those are two very good favorite bands, though.
They
Hell
are
yeah.
they are such good bands. But it's like it means that I do sort of like every time I'm like, oh, let's put some music on. I'll just
You
listen
like
to
Crisis, yeah.
yeah, basically,
Yeah.
or
Hell yeah.
I'll put on like They're Only Chasing Safety or anything like that, and then
You're
um,
welcome.
I'll have a great time. Yeah,
I actually
so
introduced
much.
when we were like at college when we were 17. I introduced James to Alex on Fire, and it was their first album. And I remember us listening to it and be like, God, this is shit. And
We were
then-
like, the production of this is so bad. Oh my god.
And then I remember, and now you're their biggest fan. How times change, hey?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I basically spent the whole time being like, wow, the production of this album is like pure shit. I was really disappointed, and then like I ended up like getting their logo tattooed on me.
Oh, the
Opinions can
turntables,
change.
yeah.
That's
How
it.
the turntables, indeed. Yeah. Watch out, Crisis, Old Crows, and to be fair, and Otherness. Like they're all great albums.
I am proud of
Um,
you for listening to new music though, because that's for such a nostalgic queen like yourself.
And it's a pretty different record to, those two bands as well, because it's basically country pop metalcore.
It's so good though. It's like
Oh yeah, like I'm not
I think
disputing
it's-
that. It's
Yeah,
got bangers.
I basically like anything that's just. This is another thing that Safe has to go at me for quite frequently. I basically just so I'm a drummer first and foremost, but I've played guitar for quite a while, and I'm always like I'm terrible for like seeing guitarists do cool stuff or hearing cool guitar bits and like being like, oh, I really want to play that. I really have to learn it like right now. I've also got like mean ADHD, which means that I'll try really hard for like a day, and then if I can't do it, I'm like, I quit everything, burn all my instruments. But they're basically after I listened to Savior by Black Peaks and the guitar solo in that song, which is basically just like banjo rolls for, I don't know, like a minute. I was like, country solos and country guitar in metal songs is sick because it's basically just a clean version of the other, you know?
Is this
Yeah.
where this like we did like an acoustic set last year, and they tried to add in this weird little country slide into like one of the acoustic songs that was really like sad, and it just felt so wrong, and you guys really fought for that to be a thing, like really fought for it, and I was like, it sounds like a meme. It feels like you're just adding a meme into our song for like this acoustic gig. What are you doing? Because I don't think anyone else would appreciate it apart from you two. Like,
No,
you'd
me
look at
and
each
Matt
other
were
like,
like, this is
across the side.
great. Like, we are musical geniuses. Like, this is the best thing ever. And so, yeah, had very strong opinions about it, which were basically, stop sabotaging this fucking set. You
It's
absolute
like a
clowns.
song. It was like a song being like, "Hey, I kind of want to kill myself," and you're like, "Let's add in a country slide." I'm like, "Okay."
Let's do some. Yeah, let's do some dumb shit. But yeah, like, so actually listening to this Bill, I've listened to the Bilmuri stuff for like the last few years, and it's been great. Like, found it sort of in lockdown and stuff, and loved it. But then like as it's progressed, I'm like, oh yeah, there's some country solos in here, and they are like seriously good as well. It's
Yeah.
not just like someone who's decided to like just like rip something off and chuck it in there for fun. Like, they are great and they fit as well. And it's awesome. And also because I play sax, it's really cool seeing a saxophonist in a country pop metalcore band. How
Yeah,
sick
just
is that?
throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Yeah, it's there's been a resurgence in like bands using saxophone over the last few years, and it's like Bilmuri are obviously a big one. I think they've got and they're doing so well. Like they've got the Sleep Token tour. They're playing Electric Ballroom next year, which is crazy to me.
sick.
Yeah,
And
they're
it's-
headlining
yeah.
SWX in Bristol, and it's like one of the smaller shows on the tour, from what I can tell.
Yeah, SWX is quite a big venue
It's
as
absolutely ridiculous.
well. That's sick.
We saw, was it Bass Hunter there? when
Yeah.
when we when we were at uni.
You're trying not to admit that, and you're just like, yes.
I was thinking I haven't been there for ages, and then I was like, we've seen that. I was like, I don't know who you went with, and then you said that it was Freshers Week, many years ago when we were at uni. Seeing Bass Hunter was a really like full cycle experience. To be fair, I also saw Cascada there, which also was revolutionary because my dad loves Cascada, which is so rogue because my dad likes Blondie and AC/DC, so then the fact he loves Cascada is really rogue from him.
I didn't know that.
He fucking loves Cascada. It's his like his musical taste is so varied, but it always just makes me giggle because it's just like it's just weird. It's just you just look at him and you're like, I would never think you listen to that.
Just he always sticks on a bit of Miley Cyrus.
He loves Miley Cyrus. That king is obsessed with Miley Cyrus, I have to say.
Guy.
I'm really enjoying the insight into Hamartia and like history and favourite bands where we're going from like, yeah, love Bilmuri and also Cascada, Bass Hunter, like part of our musical DNA.
Hell yeah. I think this is the thing, like you guys definitely listen to heavier music than I do nowadays. I used to be really into like heavy stuff, and now I'm just like, I love girly pop. I'm such a girly pop girly, you know?
Yeah. I definitely listened to heavier stuff, like back in the day, well, like when I was at college and stuff. Like it was always, I was in a few bands of people who were like well into like Animals Leaders and Meshuggah and that sort of thing.
Hell yeah!
And
What's
I
your album
always
of the year, Will?
Mine is extremely on brand.
Okay.
It's Harriet.
Go. Yeah, that makes sense. I believe that. I believe that.
Love that shit.
That album is very, very good.
It's the Harriet record because I just think it does so much that they've done already and fleshes it out so well.
Hell yeah. I just think they're such a great band, and they always like bring on like such a great show. Everyone's always so into it. You can't just I feel like you either love them or hate them. There's no in between.
Fortunately, I feel like most people are in the former camp, and I'm seeing them.
Everyone loves them.
I'm seeing them tomorrow actually.
Ooh.
Sick.
Because it's on. They're opening on the. I think they're opening. Yeah, they're opening on the Fit for an Autopsy.
That's gonna be
Silosis and Darkest Hour tour, which is like utterly ridiculous for heavy bands. It's just like, what is this?
That's gonna be so.
That would be
possible.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That would be silly.
What venue's that?
Electric Brixton. So it's the same one I'm going to tonight. It's like a half-hour walk from my door.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
that's dreamy.
1,500 people, I think.
Nice.
Something like that. It's a good sized venue, actually. It's a nice little venue. I've seen Zealanada there.
Sick. Love Zealanada.
It feels really weird now to think that Harriet, like, it wasn't long ago that I saw them headlining the Lanes for, like, what was it? Was it Misery Loves Company last year that they headlined the stage?
Was it last year? Was it 23?
Or it was the year before? I don't know. I can't. All the years
it was
merged into
23.
one.
I think because it was like quite a long time ago. It was like like 15, 16 months ago.
It was like
we're all confused.
It was insane. It was so good.
I saw them do the album. You know the EP. I couldn't make it to the album launch show. I did the EP launch show for Profound Morality when they did. Fucking hell. What was it? Crofters' Rights, something like that.
Oh yeah, R.I.P.
A little 50, 60 cap back room.
Yeah.
And you've got Sammy from Church Road, who's like a 6-foot mosh gremlin crowd surfing.
I love that.
So good.
Crofters is such a good venue. That's kind of up in the air with what's happening with that, but so many great bands we've seen there.
Yeah.
So many great bands.
I saw it was another Freshers Week one, and
Freshers special.
And I wouldn't say that I'm a massive fan of this band now, but I saw Idols there.
Oh yeah, that was Freshers Week.
Like
we went to BIM,
people.
so
yeah,
and they like BIM. Some of them used to work at BIM. Yeah.
But yeah, they played like most of Brutalism, or if not all of it, and it was actually sick because that album is great, and it was like in a room to like 80 people who were all basically trying to punch each other and not get punched.
Love a hardcore show.
It was great.
So, tie it off then, we've had Lizzie McAlpine, very different sort of indie-ish singer-songwriter, and Bilmuri, as albums of the year, which is some really exciting picks. Actually, I think it's really good to just say no, pick whatever, because it's more interesting to find out what you're listening to outside of the realm of alternative music.
Yeah, I
Now,
love Lizzie McAlpine.
you did ask me actually, did it have to be in the alternative space? And I obviously said no, but
But you
that
want me
does
to
kind
do
of make
another
me
one?
think. If yeah, sorry to put you on the spot, but if I had to say yes, if I said yes, it has to be an alternative record like rock metal, that our neck of the woods,
Okay,
what would you
okay,
have picked, do you
and
reckon?
a relatively new find for me, but Defenses.
Okay.
Um, I really love their stuff. It's a really different thing for me to listen to because I don't like. Obviously, it's a lot heavier than the girly pop stuff. And they've done great, like great music. I really love. I think her name's Cherry, the singer. She's really cool. She has a great aesthetic and vibe, and her voice is amazing. I love like how she can go from really pretty singing to screams. It's very fun. Also, do you really like the Bilmuri album as well? Obviously, the Linkin Park album's great. Really love that. It's really hard. It's really hard to pick. I feel like I chose Lizzie McAlpine because I have literally religiously listened to it, whereas the others have just kind of been a bit. I've listened a few times, but yeah.
I have a maybe a suggestion for you, Soph. It does bend the rules of this podcast ever so slightly.
Right.
And
Oh,
it bends
there were
your
rules? I
question,
wasn't
Will.
aware.
It sort of bends your question a little bit, Will.
Okay.
An EP instead of an album.
You're gonna
Okay,
go for Cosm.
yeah.
No, unlucky. I love Cosm, but I am gonna go for Lonely People by Love Rarely.
Oh,
That's a really
don't you?
good shout.
Oh no. Okay, right. If it was an EP, I would die for that EP. I would die for Love Rarely. No one asked. I am so obsessed with Love Rarely. I want them to just exist forever. They're such lovely people. Their music is insane. I've been obsessed with them since their second ever single. I remember when they sent it into my radio show, and I've just been screaming about them since then. So it's nice to see them get recognition now.
Yeah.
I'm playing with Cassiette. Look at them go. I'm so proud.
They're doing really well. They are a really, really good band as well.
They're so good.
And yeah, this is on record, but whatever. I'll tell you something afterwards as well.
Nice.
So I can't say it right now.
Okay, that's
Love
fine.
Rally.
Hell yeah. Nothing's happening right now.
Yeah, no, the Love Rarely record, really cool. I'm really excited to see where they go because they've just got that sort of, janky post-hardcore math rock vibe that it's just really fun. It's just
Yeah.
really good to hear it kind of
Yeah.
break out into.
Courtney has such such a nice tone, and it's really unique as well. I love really unique voices, and her singing voice especially is just like absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you seen them live yet?
Not yet.
Oh, mate. I basically.
You're gonna be so.
I
chuffed.
never ever want to two-step ever because
It
I'm
made
just
you
like,
want to two-step,
this
yeah.
is boring. And when they play Path, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking two-step, and I'm gonna have a good fucking time. It's one
Amazing.
of those songs where I'm just like, I just want. It makes you want to like crowd kill, mate. It makes you want to do all of the sort of worst bits.
That's a
of
legal
bits.
activity. Banned.
Yeah, it's so good. They're so sick. Yeah, we played a show with them at Exchange. We saw that they played at Burn It Down this year, and we were there for the set, and it was sick. And Sophie even interviewed them. OMG.
Did.
Very
And
nice.
then we played a show with them the day after at the Exchange. It was
With
weird
Mega.
because it was supposed to be at Crofters Rights, R.I.P. Crofters, and it got put onto like the next day as like a matinee show.
Nice.
So we opened and we played at 1 p.m. and it was very weird.
I can
But
imagine.
it was a sick show, to be fair.
But at the same time, you're home nice and early as well.
Oh, it was great.
And Love Rally. 2 days of Love Rally. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love regularly. And on that
Hell yeah.
absolutely terrible note, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having
you
us.
for-
We've loved it.
Yes, absolutely. I always love ranting about my favorite music. So, thank you.
I'm joined by Ritchie and Luke from Unpeople today. First up, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
How are you doing?
We're all good. We're just discussing not to call Richie Ricky ever.
I was
Richie's
going to
great.
leave that going to leave that bit off the record, but there we go.
Yeah, no, we're all good. We're just you're talking to us in the middle of a very non-stop period of just being in the studio as much as we possibly can writing. So yeah, that's pretty much our lives at the moment. Just doing little bits and then writing to fill out the gaps in between
Nice.
chunks of things.
So you're busy right up until the end of the year because you've had already a pretty hectic year, to be fair. What with the shows and releasing the EP as well. So, like, how's that been? What's the sort of like been the highlights for you?
I mean, it's been awesome. To be honest, it's like I don't think it's been any more hectic than any other band that's, you know what I mean, like releasing and then backing it up with shows and stuff. I mean, optimistically, I hope that next year's even crazier. You know, I hope
Yeah.
that this was a relatively calm year for us because we want to be, you know, not stopping next year. But yeah, no, I think we've done a lot, and you know, this is technically we're just coming to the end of our first year with music out, so it's been the trajectory of the band's probably been a little bit steeper than we all first imagined when we got in a rehearsal room together. But we definitely welcome it, and we're just figuring it out as we go at the moment. So
Yeah, I was
yeah,
going to say because like it being the first year you've released music and to already have done like some of the slots you've had, like the Metallica opener, for instance, is
yeah,
kind of crazy. In
yeah. No, it is. I mean, if there's anyone listening that doesn't know the history of the band, it was kind of birthed, you know, off the back of a few other projects that some people may or may not know. So I think we had a bit of a head start in that regard, in that we had a little bit of a following to come into a new to transfer over to a new project. So that gave us a head start. But I think everything other than that has been we've just been overwhelmed with. It's just all exceeded our expectations, and we're very appreciative to yeah just be here basically.
yeah, I mean, even with that head start, you can never sort of take any level of it for granted. So it might have only been, three, four people or, a few hundred, but all the same, it's like to have them follow it through into the new project and then for it to go on to do as much as you have.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
because you
super
also
cool.
played your first headline show, didn't you? Which was the one at the
Yeah.
Grace with
Mm.
Alex Holcomb's Mantra.
Yeah, that was super cool. Again, it's one of those ones where, you know, we love Alex and she, right from before we'd even put the first single out, I think she came to see us in London at a show we played, I think like a year ago, last October. And she saw us and she's just been relentlessly shouting about the band since. And, you know, having those people that are, you know, she's, you know, Radio 1 DJ that's sort of backing the band and telling everyone to listen to us. It does help a lot and it does mean a lot to us. Super cool. So
Yeah,
when the offer came through, she was saying she was putting a run of shows together and she wanted us to headline. It was like anything you want, Alex. You know what I mean? Just like you just tell her, just we will do it. Just tell us and we're there.
yeah. I mean, that's like such a cool opportunity as well, and such an interesting thing that's being done to try and reconnect, like to try and get fans back. Like, because I'm sure there are people that'll be like, "Oh, I really want to support my local scene, but I don't know what's going on," and then they go listen to Radio One and get told, "Well, hey, if your local scene just happens to be London, then here's something really cool that's going to happen every month that you can
Yeah.
go to."
Hmm.
Yeah, no, super cool. And I think you know, I know she's very conscious of trying to keep like the ticket prices from going through the roof as well, which is something that everyone's feeling the sting of at the moment, which is a shame because, you know, you save up all year to see your favorite band, just, you know, justifiably so.
Yeah,
But then that ticket price costs 20 local shows. So it's like so many people don't even have the money these days to pop down on a Saturday and see who's on at a local venue. So I think the fact that she's trying to keep it very grassroots and for it feels like it is for the fans. You know, it feels like there's a period of time before the show where you can, if you turn up early, you can usually catch the artists that are playing and have a little chat and hang out. Like me and Richie had a nice time chatting to some people, and then yeah, get some merch, see the show in a small venue, and go home.
Cool little venue as well, actually, the Grace. I saw
Yeah.
who was it I saw there? Cauldron and Killing Me Softly, like two
Oh,
UK like
cool.
upcoming metalcore bands in a
Yeah.
tiny room.
Yeah, no, that would have been awesome. I think Cauldron were on the same stage as us at Bloodstock. I think they were either just before or just after us. I remember seeing that name next to us on a lineup.
Yeah, I know they've played it, which is really cool for them as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, moving on then. So obviously it's been a really cool year, and we'll talk about a bit about future plans as well. But one thing that's also been a really cool year for just generally is like alternative releases.
sure.
So I always like to get to the end of the year and sort of ask people. I've done this for a couple of years now. Just get a few people on and just say, so what's been your favorite release? Whether it's, rock, metal, or wherever it may come from, what's been your favorite release from from 2024?
I mean, Richie, do you want to go first, or?
You go first, man.
I think it's funny because we've been so busy. I've not listened to that much music this year. I've
That
probably
was
listened.
literally where my head's at as well.
I was like, this is probably the year I've listened to the least new music, which I feel extremely guilty about. But it's nice because we're doing lots of traveling next year, so I've got I've got a list of albums to check out. But
Something that's happened with us when we've been in the van and here is we've been sharing lots of different music that we've known from our pasts. So it's
Okay.
almost like this year, I've been showing Luke loads of stuff that I'm into. He's been showing me loads of stuff that he's into, and Jake as well. And we've each got such individual tastes. It's been like this big mashup
yeah,
cauldron
Okay.
of just listening to.
But if there's
so
not.
our
Sorry,
album
go
of 2024 is the Unpeople Van playlist,
on.
which compiles of since music began to 2024. I do want to give a special shout out though, an album I have listened to, which I think is amazing and probably is my album of the year, is the Better Lovers record. It's so good.
So good. Yeah.
It's
Love
just
it.
like I remember when that band got announced because we'd signed to Sharp Tone, but we weren't announced on it. And
Yeah.
then Better Lovers got, born into the world, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like my perfect band. It's like
Yeah.
it's like this is it. This is the band. They've made a band just for me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, um, and I'm always, I think everyone it's basically, it's not a super group. It's like a legit band. Do you know what I mean? But it's all
Yeah.
if you know the history, it's like a super group, sort of like cult heroes. But I think so often when these bands come together, it's not always the sum of its parts. But I think that with Better Lovers, it's I I wouldn't even be hard pushed to say it might be the best thing they've all ever done, in my opinion. And this is coming
Oh,
from
that
a
is a
die,
big
yeah,
shout.
it's coming
It's
from a
huge.
die-hard Dillinger Escape Plan fan. Do you know what I mean? It's like they were
Yeah.
like my favorite band when I was a teenager, and I loved Every Time I Die. Um, but it's just for me, it's the perfect blend of everything. It's so good.
Yeah. They feel like they're a supergroup by association more than actually like them going, hey, we all did these wildly successful in their own right projects.
100%.
Like Dillinger reshaping the entire mathcore landscape by just
Yeah.
being weird as hell.
Yeah. I mean, Ironworks was quite literally a record that changed the way I heard guitar music. Like I remember
It's
being like
yeah.
13 or something, and it was like there was a really good music scene in Horsham, which is a town along from where I live in Crawley. And like I would have been playing shows when I was like 12 or something like that. And all of like the older, like the real bands who were probably like 16, 17, like they were all just kids. But I'd look up to them and they'd always talk about this band, Dillinger Escape Plan. I'd be like, what is this? And I remember vividly going into HMV with a £10 note to buy a record and just seeing
Those were the days,
Ironworks.
weren't they?
Yeah, they were. They were showing our age here. And I remember Ironworks had just come out, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. And I put it on, and Fix Your Face comes in. I was just like, what? I've never heard anything like that noise. And then it's kind of like I put it on repeat, and then it slowly it was like I could see in black and white, and then I could slowly start to see in color with each listen, and as it kind of unlocked, and then that was it. I was in from that point.
Yeah. Yeah, the Better Lovers record. I mean, when they dropped that EP, that first EP, I loved it and just
Yeah,
thought this is exactly what I could want from a Dillinger Every Time I Die hybrid.
with a sprinkle of Will Putney.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
with a little sprinkle of Will Putney as like both both kind of the mastering and like mixing genius and a
Yeah.
guitar. He's a really good guitarist as well. Like
He's a phenomenal guitarist. Like him and Jordan are great guitarists, man. And you can hear, I think you can hear Will's influence on the riffs as well, because clearly there's a strong every time I die
oh yeah,
string that runs through for obvious reasons. But you can hear
but
there's a
yeah, it's
new
not
kind
all
of
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did really enjoy the Better Lovers record, definitely, and I unfortunately haven't seen them yet. I
Oh,
think they
you got to
played it.
see him live. It's just so good. Because
Yeah,
Luke showed me them on record, and it just sounds so fat. And then you watch it, I was like,
it's yeah,
just
especially
just
Greg.
mind melting.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean
unbelievable.
yeah.
Yeah.
The age he is now, he's a freak of nature doing the things he is. Do you know what I mean?
What
He's
show was it that we were playing a show with them, and I was up on the balcony? It's like, oh, I can get a better view from up here. And then some guy just like pushes past me. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm trying to watch Better Lovers. And it's fucking Greg. He just like gets off on the balcony. He's hanging off. I'm like, oh shit. Oh no. Oh, something's going to happen. And he just starts swinging from the lighting rig and then just drops into the audience. It's
yeah.
just, you know, he's
It's
crazy.
it's funny because there's the famous clip of them. I think it's in a H&B where he runs across the heads. Have you seen that
Oh,
video
it was a
clip?
Virgin Megastore.
Virgin
Yeah,
Megastore, sorry, yeah.
another
Um,
blast from the past. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I know it well.
yeah, no, I mean that's a
Obviously,
legendary video. You know what I mean? And it's from back in the day. But it's funny because I've actually seen that's been doing the rounds again on Instagram and stuff. And it's just funny because it's like he's still the same. It's
yeah,
like nothing has changed. He's still that guy.
he's
It's like
still that
running.
guy that walks on people's heads, which is
Yeah,
just incredible. Like,
yeah,
yeah, great shout on that. That's highly irresponsible, isn't it? Both the
yeah,
act and
yeah.
the record.
Yeah, yeah.
So good.
It's the perfect name for that band. Also, I did just discover do you know the rapper Doechii?
I do, yeah, actually. I watched her Tiny Desk the other day and was
Yeah,
thoroughly impressed by it. Like the way
so
that
good.
it's blending sort of jazz, soul, and
Yeah.
rap as well is, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really like that's like a snuck in right at the end of the year discovery for me. But I'm really impressed with her and what I've heard, so I'm looking forward I know her record came out this year, so
Yeah, I
I'm
need
gonna
to check out the proper record.
I'm gonna preemptively put that on the list because I know I'm gonna love it.
What about yourself, Richie? You got anything from this year you've really enjoyed? Or even, I suppose, we could go with what's been on the
Yeah.
van playlist you've discovered that you've loved.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me this year there was a new record from Mr. Bill, who I've showed Luke is an electronic artist. It's just pure ear candy everywhere. If you put headphones on, sit in a dark room, it's just all of these noises will just get you. They're amazing. Another artist called Virtual Riot as well. Nice to hear those guys making noises. But there was a journey we did recently back in the van, which was we did my System of a Down listing, which had
Oh yeah.
somehow passed me by. It was just, people have just got
That's
these blind
impressive.
spots in life. I know, I don't know how it happened. And Luke was like, wait a second, you are gonna love this.
Yeah.
And I just sat in the van the whole way back, like,
I think it was BYOB. It was as soon as
it
he heard like
was.
the come in for the first time.
Yeah.
Richie was just like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard."
It's just,
It was
yeah.
amazing getting to watch someone in front of you in 2024 discover System of a Down properly. It was just like a explosion of color in the
It
van.
became, I think, one of my favorite songs of all time on a first listen. It was just like, some songs, most songs, you sort of take a little bit of time to get into it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm really feeling it. I'm really feeling it. Now, I mean, yeah, with BYOB, it's like, first listen, oh my God, I'm so in. This is unbelievable. You
Yeah,
can see why they are where they are.
for sure. It's hilarious as well because they were literally from probably the age of like 13 to 17. They were my favorite band, like number one favorite band. They were kind of like the band
Yeah.
for me that gave me the idea that you can have lots of harmonies and more than one vocal and play around with voices. And
And
yeah,
talking
just
of harmonies, actually, another one that Luke showed me in the van was Ghost.
Oh yeah.
which I hadn't done my listening yet. And there's just a whole world of lovely listening there. I did a few plane journeys where I just put it all offline and then just listened to everything. I was like, yeah,
You
yeah,
love
this
the
is
you
music.
love the last Manchester Orchestra record as well.
That
When I
was
played
great.
you that, yeah.
Loved that. Yeah.
Yeah. I really do love the idea of discovering System of a Down for the first time in 2024.
It was
Like
so good.
that's such an experience to have. Like even though they've not, I know they've not released new music in God knows how long, but I do honestly think like the Mesmerize Hypnotize sort of double disc, the 2 album run is just unbelievable. Like
It's so good.
some of the sort of strongest weird kind of metal that's been done in a long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, the way they play with voices and different kind of harmonies on those records and just generally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's
I mean,
insane.
Yeah. You've
it
got
was
two vocalists that pretty much can't be imitated.
yeah, they've both got the maddest voice you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And there's times two in the same band. It's like that dude's voice sounds mental. Oh, and there's another guy that also sounds like a cartoon character. And then they sing together and it just works. But literally, like Ritchie hearing that properly for the first time, it was as much for me as it was for him. I was just sat there like, this is the best. I was watching Ritchie's mind explode.
Amazing. Is there a specific record you reckon from this year you've picked up on though, Richie, or is it sort of mostly been the discovering of Ghost and System of a Down, which are great things to discover, to be fair?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of music being released, it's probably more on the electronic side.
Fair
I
enough.
think for me, just lots of nice ear. I love hearing how far people can push production because we obviously do a lot of recording and mixing at our end, and so hearing these crazy kids do things with sounds is just a nice little break from some of the music sometimes because we're just making music all of the time,
Hmm.
every day here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been quite a nice way to listen to music this year.
It's been nice because, like, me bringing Richie, like Ghost and System of a Down, and all these old school rock bands that I've grown up with, and then Richie in return giving me things like Mr. Bill, which I'd never heard before. But it's just like Richie said, the production is. I mean, I feel like the bar is set in electronic music. It's just people are pushing what you thought. It's like I remember hearing Skrillex for the first time, like years and years ago when he first came on the scene, and being like, "This is it." Like it can't sound any fatter and clearer than that. And then it's like you listen back now, and it sounds like a bedroom. What someone's done as like a bedroom
Yeah.
demo compared to the stuff that's coming out now, and like what even Skrillex is doing now. And it's just it blows my mind where it's like, how can it get more? And every year, every few years, there's a big leap, and it gets fatter, crisper, louder. It's just insane how they keep finding this space.
Yeah, it's a really interesting scene that I've not delved loads into, but then I listen to like the odd kind of piece when I pick it up. Like I used to be really into electro, the electro pop singer Lights.
Yeah.
I was a big Lights fan for years, and I know she's got like an electronic side project that occasionally rears its head, I think called Lun. And like that's
Oh,
just
what?
kind
Sorry.
of Lun, Lun. It's quite
Oh
fun
no,
to
I've
listen
not heard
to.
of that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not necessarily groundbreaking, but like it just sounds like having fun. So it's a
Yeah.
really interesting kind of scene for especially pushing production as well, because that's what a lot of it will be,
For
I
sure, and
guess.
musically it depends what your intention is because then there's artists like Noizze, who me and Luke both used to listen to back in the day, and I've kept listening to quite a lot recently, who they just love making things sound disgusting. It's very similar to metal. If you were just watching people listen to it, they'll make a lot of the same faces. It's a lot of like,
And move in the same way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like the intention is kind of to get the same effect, but it's just using a slightly different set of instruments.
100%.
Nice. Okay. So coming on from like the releases from the year or discoveries of the year in this case, wanted to talk a little bit last of all about plans for 2025. So yeah, I mean it's like you said, it's hopefully gonna be a really exciting year. I know you've got a lot lined up, including the one we're really excited about, which is your headline set at Noise Fest for our second ever year
Well,
you're playing, which is like we're ecstatic. But yeah, sort of what
We're
else is on the
ecstatic.
horizon.
We're so ecstatic to play. It's gonna be awesome. It's a club, isn't it?
It is. It's upstairs club.
Yeah, because
Well, let's say that's the main stage because we've got three.
cool. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. Because I don't think I ever played upstairs there. Somehow I played in the bar, and is there another room there as well?
It's a good question. I'm not from Cardiff.
I remember I played Fuel, what was Fuel Bar back in the day.
Oh, we've
Um,
got Fuel is our third stage,
oh, cool. Okay, yeah,
or
I
it might
played
be our
in there.
second actually. Fuel is one of our three stages.
Yeah, I played in there, and I've played downstairs a
Yeah,
couple of times, but I've never got to the top. So I appreciate you asking us.
yeah, no,
So,
absolutely. Well, as soon as we kind of were putting names together, we went, who's like the best people we could possibly ask at this point in time. Like,
and
so
they
we're
said
really
no,
glad we got a yes.
and then you asked
Yeah.
us. Yeah, yeah. We really, really appreciate being on. I think this is maybe our first. I think you're technically our first ever sort of festival headline we've had as well. So it's
That's cool. Hopefully, the first of many.
hopefully we'll see. But it was cool getting the poster through and seeing our name at the top. We had a little moment. We were like, that's pretty
Amazing.
cool. We
Yeah,
weren't
so
even
did
a
we.
band. Yeah.
We got it
Um,
in from our artist and went, "Holy shit, you've done it again."
yeah. I hope Zoe and James were nice to deal with, whoever it was who booked them.
It
If
was my
not,
friend.
we will be having words.
Yeah, it was. It's Jack who does all our booking, our founder. And I think he had zero issues other than
Awesome.
I think it was just like a timing thing. We just had to wait for everything
Yeah.
to be lined up. But yeah, other than that, I think it worked. I think it's been very smooth to be fair.
Yeah, the lineup's great as well when the full poster came through. It's some really cool bands. Like
Yeah,
I think it's that or is it Orchids or Orchids? Like
Orchards we've got. Yeah, we've got
yeah,
we've got four more to announce as well in
oh cool,
February.
cool. I can't wait for you to push stop record and we can hear all about it.
Just you wait. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're a band that I've kind of been on my radar for a long time. They're always a band that I've wanted to catch, so it'd be cool to see them. But yeah, no, we're really excited. Like we're
Yeah.
just honored to be asked, really. So thank you.
Funny story about the Orchards booking, I'll tell you, is so we were at Arctangent this year and Jack came for the day. And we went to see Orchards, and I think within the first song, he was drafting an email to their booking agent.
Really
Yeah, he was like, "I
loved it
love
that
this.
much.
I love
Yeah,
this so much. This is perfect. I want this at the
yeah.
festival."
They
Um,
remind me of there was a band in Southampton called Signals that we were good friends with. I don't know if you remember them, where a similar kind of like almost like This Town Needs Guns kind of guitar, twinkly guitar, mathy guitar with like a really talented girl on vocals called Ellie. And
okay,
they were just awesome. They're a really cool band. I recommend checking them out if you like that.
yeah, I'll have to give him a listen. But yeah, that's side story about how we booked Orchards. But yeah, no. What else is on the cards that you can talk about for next year?
Honestly, it's just we're writing like that's is like we've almost
I'm
been
super
put.
excited for people to hear it. Is
Yeah,
we've spent a while in the studio now, and I love what's coming out. All of it, actually.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's yeah,
I
yeah.
think we're just, as of the last sort of month or so, we've just kind of got into like tapped into a bit of a rich vein. So it's like I feel like we've just got the momentum up now. So it's just, we've almost been put on the naughty step by like our management and label and stuff. But it's like, this year's been great. Like you've had obviously all of the opportunities that have come in, we've had to do, and they've been awesome. But it's like we need you to write now, and we're like, yeah, we know we need to like clear the diary and just
we're trying.
yeah. But now we actually have a chance the next couple months to. That's basically all we're doing, and then we've got the run with our very good friends Vicovi. We've got like a full EU run with them. I can't remember when it is, like February the something, third
Yeah,
week of
that
February, I
that'll
think
be
it is.
really exciting because I think that's Kentish Town in London, isn't it? I think that
Yeah,
one is,
yeah, it
which is
is.
so cool.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's going to be cool to play a full set there as well because we played there early in the year for Heavy Music Awards,
Yeah,
but that's only was it 2 songs or 3 songs or something like that.
yeah,
So
usually two or three.
yeah, so it's going to be fun and in kind of like the main support slot as well. So we're on a bit later and people aren't coming in as we play and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be that's I'm really looking forward to that. And then other than that, I think we've got some festivals. Some have been announced. I mean, Rock am Ring is like
Rock
for
am
me
Ring.
personally an absolute bucket list festival. Not only because of what the festival is, but also the fact it's at the Nürburgring. So for me, being a petrol head, it's like that's it's got extra points on top of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Are they going to let you drive around the track in the van or something? Or
I it depends. We may fly in or we may do
okay,
the van, but I mean, if we drive in the van, we've got to do it. You just roll up, pay your toll, and do a lap. Yeah, we have to do it. Like, it'll be amazing. But other than that, I can't actually remember what else there is. There's some other stuff. It's mainly just writing, being a band, recording, music, shows, repeat until we can't anymore.
well, it's going to be a busy year by the sounds of it.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's everything I had. Unless there's anything else you wanted to chat about, I think it's been an absolute joy to have you on this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks for chatting to us. Appreciate it. And we'll see you. I'm presuming we'll see you at Noisy Fest.
You absolutely will. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to book my Airbnb, but I will be there.
Okay, awesome. We'll see you there.